Okay. Alright. It is time. Welcome back to, well, channel for one. And two for Peak Thursdays. Took a bit of a break for the holidays. Just kind of, had that one day off, pretty much. Um, Aside from that, I believe we were just working on more episode two prog. I mean, it's gonna be a long one, just like episode one was. So we're just going through it piece by piece. It is interesting though to see it through Shannon's POV. Finally, I'm really, really hoping she gets the good things she deserves. Like, please, especially since there seems to be no battler in sight as well, so we can kind of just live in fairyland for a bit. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I think we were just learning about Shannon interacting with Beatrice, and they're just kind of talking about like her aquarium trip, and they were sharing chocolates and yada yada yada. And Cannon hates her, so we're gonna see how this develops. Also, so if you're still there as well, do you remember what the maximum bit rate was to set an OBS? Or maybe just the constant bit rate value. Was it like 6,000? Because like I'm noticing on Twitch it like randomly dips into like unstable a couple of times. So I don't know if I have it like too high. I can't remember what the value was. I have it at like 6,500 for now, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think any of the VODs have really been affected too much by it. It could just be random lag spikes. But either way, let's get into the story. Let's get back into it. And I've got my tea as well. It's lemon ginger with flax seeds, pineapple, and I think it's something else. Maybe quinoa. I can't remember. It's like a weird mix of like herbs and stuff like that. I can't remember all the ingredients, but it's pretty good. Figured I'd just get some tea ready. All right, let's load. Episode 2. Okay, it's this one. Hmm. I remember. I remember we saw Marissa's concert, or not Marissa, Jessica's concert, and I remember being mad ending it right here because it's like, oh, it's right when we get to see another like Shannon outfit episode, and I was like, oh man. Okay, I remember that.
それってどういう意味ですか、ジョージさん。
言葉通りの意味だよ。僕はまだ自分の城を築き上げてない。それができて初めて僕は一人前になれたと思えるんだ。その時君と結婚したい。
それは
でもそれじゃあもう僕の心が許せないんだ。だから君に婚約指輪を贈りたい。
婚約ですか。
What does he mean by it won't let him do that anymore?
でもその私家具ですし。
そうだったね。じゃあ家具は人の言うことを聞かないとね。
Using it against her, okay.
今、君に送るのにふさわしい指輪を作らせてる。多分、今度の親族会議の日には持っていけると思う。その時に送るから、どうか君の返事を聞かせてほしいんだ。君が僕の婚約を受けてくれたら、僕はその席でおじい様を含めた全ての親族の前で君との婚約を宣言する。
ジョージさん。
君と僕の仲をふさわしくないと咎める人たちはきっといる。でもそいつらの顔を見る必要はない。君はその瞳の中に僕だけを満たしていればいいから。君を必ず幸せにする。それだけは絶対に約束するから。
think I'm really hoping this actually pans out and works.
どの
But
ように実るのか楽しみでならない。
see, this is why I'm scared. This woman right here is why I'm scared. Also, Eva did mention that they were trying to like set him up with another like suitor, somebody specifically to benefit the Ushiromiya family. It wasn't by his choice. It's the problem.
憂に過ぎて腐り落ちる果実の駅に黄金の蝶たちは舞い降り、今より収穫の日が待ち遠しい。宴の時はまだかまだか。
Someone's excited? Interesting. I wonder if she genuinely doesn't know what's going to happen, and that's what like makes it exciting for her. The first day, October 4th, 1986. Wait. October 4th, 1986. Wait, what? The first day? What are you talking? They eating breakfast at the coffee shop. Wait! October 4th, Umineko Day. Wait, Brady. What exactly just happened? Everything that just happened before this, was that not in the current timeline? Why are we're going back? I'm a little confused what just happened here. The aquarium date, the, I guess, multiple dates in general, the talking on the beach with Beatrice, all of that beforehand just now. Are we going, like, back before that just happened? What is this? What do you mean the first day? By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Maria seemed to be awfully pleased with that. That was before. Okay, I do get that this is the same day as episode 1. Okay, so like, so did everything before just now actually still happen? Like, is that technically what's going to happen after this first day? Is that how it's looked? It just seems like a weird random jump cut. Like, what was all of that beforehand? The alternate timeline, the aquarium dates, all of that. That still actually happened, right? I'm just trying to make sure I understand the transition here. For quite some time, she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Yeah, it's just a POV. You never saw it. Okay. All right. I think I understand. I think I understand. I'll see. I'll see. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. Shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins. The costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying trick or treat were nowhere in sight.
ハロウィン祭りがしたい。
Are they taking a train instead of a plane?
こんなお洋服やだ。魔女の格好がいい。
親族会議は遊びじゃないのよ。おじい様にお会いするんだから、ちゃんとしたお洋服じゃないとダメ。
That's interesting. I think they're taking a train to Rokkenjima or somewhere now instead of a plane. However, though, a train can't take you to an island. At least not in this. While it wasn't completely full inside the train, it was really packed, with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed her at all. Once Maria got like this, and no matter how much you tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that had probably been a mistake. Surely, Maria gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then, she hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. It's so funny just hearing her say the word Halloween, just actually Halloween.
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
Do they do this in the anime too? That sound?
あなたにあげるお菓子はありません。さっき朝ごはんを食べたでしょ。
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃう。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃう。
Yeah, this is how she snaps in the garden. This type of shit. Stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a piece of candy out of her handbag and held it up to Maria.
お菓子もらえた。お菓子もらえた。見て見て、ママ。ママ。ハッピーハロウィン。
Happy Halloween.
こらマリア、勝手に人からお菓子をもらっちゃダメでしょ。
Oh shit, they cut the music.
返しなさい。いいんですよ。元気なお嬢さんですこと。おいくつです？
Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. Is this really just a random old woman? We're not gonna have a spray? However, Rosa seemed to find the remark extremely humiliating.
マリア、知らない人からお菓子をもらっちゃいけないっていつも言ってるでしょ。
おお。おい。これはマリアがもらったの。やだ、マリアの。
話しなさい。ママの言うことを聞けっていつも言ってるでしょ。
マリアの。
We're getting violent Rosa from the start. Damn.
マリアの。
Oh, that sounds like yep.
その言うのをやめなさいって言ってるでし
do this, man. Rosa reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to her.
うちの子に勝手にお菓子を与えないでください。
Ooh, that's a new face. I don't think I've ever seen that face before. It's kind of cool though.
ごめんなさい。
Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. She's good at that. Damn. If I saw that face, I might fold. I don't know. I probably would fold too. I'm not gonna lie. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up. She was crying and shouting with her nose dripping. There were many dumbfounded passengers watching her. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again. Oh. But she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. Yeah, that's a good idea. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform. She's still, god damn it. She just waited until nobody was looking. Fuck. The moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long, she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair. Good God. I don't know if it was Kark or somebody else that said it, but whoever said they can fix her, I'd love to see you try. Damn it, man. Why are we gonna start the episode like this?
そのやめなさいって言ってるでしょ。そんなんだからクラスにお友達ができないんでしょ。もっとしっかりしてよ。なんであんたはいつまでも頭の中が幼稚園なのよ。どうしてママの言うことが聞けないの。どうして。
This is not how you do it. This just ain't how you do it, bruh. With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted.
何かご用ですか？
The one who timidly called to her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt into the problems of a mother and child, stranger." Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she had imagined. Her emotional scolding had led to the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore since they'd be getting on the next train. And then you're just gonna do it in front of passengers. It just doesn't solve the fucking problem. And then, finally, or rather, for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely.
私はまた
As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she had surrendered her soul to evil again.
帰ってきて。
Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus.
マリア、ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
ママ、ママ。おかえり、おかえり。
Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest.
悪いママを許して。悪いママを許して。本当にごめんなさい。ママをどうか嫌いにならないで。
マリアは全然平気。ママを嫌いになんかならない。ママはまた悪い魔女に乗り移られていただけ。でもママが帰ってきたから平気。
Which one is the bad witch?
悪い魔女にママはまた乗り移られていたの。ごめんね。本当にごめんね。
For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and both were moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rosa's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out.
マリアはハロウィンのお祭りがしたいの？
うん。ジョージお兄ちゃんやジェシカお姉ちゃんにかぼちゃマシュマロ見せてあげたかった。
It's a neat little candy. It's too much. It was the candy they had been selling near the cash register at the shop where they had eaten breakfast. Fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow, the shape of a jack-o'-lantern, attached to the tip of the stick. Maria had wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast.
じゃあマリア、この町に売っているかどうかわからないけど、降りて探してみようか。ママ大好き、愛してる。ありがとう。私もよ、マリア。愛してるわ。
The truth was that they didn't have time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. Oh, okay, so they still are gonna fly. Gotcha. Oh, you know what? It's probably the train ride before meeting up with everyone at the airport. I'm guessing that's where they're at right now. So obviously they still have to fly over there. If they missed, oh no, I did that, okay. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Assuming they train, fly to another place, boat time. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning. She looked at the clock. They had to get on to the next train immediately. But her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa, as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Maria. To her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. Damn, where is this? Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria would probably be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with her face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup.
あれと全く同じマシュマロは見つからないかもしれないけど、似たようなお菓子があるといいね。
Right. I just had to go get something.
それで、いとこのみんなを一緒に驚かそうね。うん。ママと一緒に買うお菓子なら何でもいい。
They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mother, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red, but the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without any restraint. Well, at least that bond is getting repaired. Because, that hurt. That sucked to go through. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking despise any time it comes to physical confrontation like that. Can't redeem Rosa. Cannot.
こんなところでどうされたのですか？
Klaus?
君か。
Oh.
なんでもない。考え事をするのにここが少し心地よかっただけだ。
今日の準備はすべて手配が終わっています。 あとはお茶でも飲みながらくつろいで待とうではありませんか。
すまん。君にいつも面倒なことを全て押し付けている。
どうか私をもっと頼ってはいただけませんか。私はあなたの妻です。
無論君にはいつも助けられているし、感謝もしている。だからこそ私は私の仕事に専念できる。
分かっています。お仕事のこと、そしてお父様の遺産の話ですね。
君には関係のないことだ。欲深な兄弟たちの腐肉のあさり合いに過ぎん。
大丈夫です、あなた。すべてうまくいきます。あなたのお仕事がうまくいかなかったことはありません。
Natsui softly cuddled close to Krause's shoulder. She complimented Krause on his hard work, but Natsui knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. It's copium. Krause's project was something like a seesaw, where a large amount of monkey swings. Yep, okay, and it's just like that. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs, but like a large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you'd only do that if you're confident you'd be able to recover all of your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaws Krause chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed in a park. It's a really popular item, so there's always someone playing it. And you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of these seesaws that was completely unused and you raced to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you wouldn't be able to play it. What if lots of time passed and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Krause noticed something. The weather's getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. It's funny, since their literal weather is going to get worse too. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated this place because of the worsening weather, it would certainly be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently, all alone. That was Krause's project in his current situation.
私にもう少しの勇気と自分の先見性を信じる自信があれば、いつだって失敗はしなかった。
ええ、そうです。あなたの先見性はいつも間違っていません。あなただけがお父様の才覚を受け継いだのです。他の兄弟たちが誰も受け継がなかった天性のものを受け継がれた。
なのに私はそれを信じられず、いつも臆病に自らの事業を畳んできた。なぜ自分を信じることができないのか。自分を信じられない男を誰が信じる。
You know, I never would have expected Krause to be a guy who would lack confidence. or like self-esteem. I would have thought you'd be the opposite, honestly.
誰も信じない。私はいつも敗者の座るべき椅子に自ら座り、親父にもおふくろにも兄弟たちにも笑われる。私はいつになったらこのコンプレックスから解放されるのだ。いつになったら。
Natsu was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Krause's anguish. As the eldest son of the Ushiromi family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility. He couldn't open his pained heart to anyone and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises.
あなたが親族会議に専念できるよう、すべての手配を済ませています。すべて。
すまん。親父どもの件は問題ないかね。
はい。源氏と南條先生は私たちの味方です。あの強欲な兄弟たちを決してお父様には合わせません。
See if Kinzo comes down this time.
もしもし。はい、合田です。お任せください。年に一度の大仕事に腕が鳴っております。
In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally, he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference, he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year.
ディナーには子牛のステーキを。素晴らしい肉がすでに保冷庫で今夜を待ちわびておりますよ。まかないも今夜はぜひ期待してください。
It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Goda bragged about being the Ushirome family's personal chef, and knowing that he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor.
わかった。任せるのでよろしく頼む。あと、熊沢がそちらにいないか。
熊沢さんですか。先ほど見かけましたが、こちらにはおりません。ゲストハウスの方へ準備に行かれたのではないでしょうか。
また油を売っているのか。いや、結構だ。では引き続きよろしく頼む。
万事、この合田にお任せを。
Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed, once again thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again, even though things were this busy. And the ostentatious Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day when he could show off.
失礼します。ゲストハウスの各お部屋の準備が整いました。
お嬢様よりお子様方が泊まれるよう4人分の用意をするようにとのご指示を賜りましたが、いかがいたしましょう。
今年は6年ぶりにバトラ様がお見えになるそうだ。お嬢様もいとこ4人で夜更かしをされたいのだろう。準備するように奥様にはお伝えしなくてよい。
そうですね。かしこまりました。
今夜は深夜勤で、そのまま明日は早朝勤か。 しんどい2日間になりそうだな。
You'll be fine.
そういえば台風が直撃するって天気予報で言っていますね。大丈夫でしょうか。
台風がよほどそれない限り、場合によっては親族の皆様方のお帰りの船に響くだろう。親族会議の日程が月曜か火曜あたりまで長引くかもしれない。
Wait, October 4th, 18, what was it, 86? I think 85, 86. Is it a Friday? I forget what specific day it is.
長丁場になるだろうが、皆くれぐれも粗相のないように頼む。シャノンは焦らぬよう落ち着いて、カノンは愛想よくご挨拶をするように。
はい、注意します。
注意します。
大切なお客様がお越しになられる日だ。くれぐれも粗相がないように。
心得ています。いつだってここには大切なお客様しか訪れませんから。
カノン、今日は本当の意味で大切なお客様を迎える。
So, is there someone more important?
心構えを改めるように。
A very important guest.
はい。
シャノン、どうした？さっきから何かそわそわしているようだが、何か時間の約束でもあるのか？
いえ、何でもありません。失礼いたしました。
姉さん、今日は大切なお客様がお越しになる日なんだよ。プライベートとは切り離すようにね。
プライベートなんか知りません。
As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming, long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race. But Cannon, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her. I see. This is episode 1.
シャノン、これを黙って受け取ってくれ。
Is he practicing in the bathroom? No way. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, talking about a small velvet box hidden in his pocket, like a quick-drawn desert gunman.
違うな。シャノンは牽引力のある男性が好きなんだ。もっと馬力がある感じじゃないとダメだ。シャノン、これを薬指につけるんだ。命令だよ。ああ、左手とちゃんと言わないと右手にされちゃうかもしれない。いや、シャノンもそこまでかまととじゃないけど。ああ、でも少しは自由意志がないとなんだかその。
What are these sounds? As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. Jojo snapped back to reality. Oop, there goes gravity.
お、ジョージ君。大丈夫か？腹の調子でも悪いのか？
ルドルフおじさん。
It's been so long since I've seen him alive. I kind of forgot what he looked like. I'm not gonna lie.
大丈夫です。平気です。ご心配は無用です。
そっか。ならいいんだけどな。無理して力みすぎるなよ。尻が切れちまうぜ。
Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved.
キリエ、ローザはまだ来ないのか？
まだよ。遅いわね。
They don't know.
天候調整中だからいいようなものを。これで普段通りのダイヤだったらあいつ乗り遅れちまうぜ。そしたらどうする気なんだあいつ。
ローザさんだっていい年の大人よ。なんとかするわ。兄って人はいくつになっても妹を子供扱いなのね。
親父だっていくつになっても子供だけどな。
だと？俺が子供ならおめえは赤ん坊じゃねえか。ほれほれ、バトラちゃん、高い高い。
I kind of did miss this.
やめろ、くすぐってやめ。
親子ってより悪ガキ仲間って感じね。ほら、いらしたわよ。
おおおお、ローザさんやないか。マリアちゃん、久しぶりやの。
久しぶり。
マリア、お久しぶりですでしょ。言ってごらん。
お久しぶりです。
そうや、よく言えたな。ご褒美に飴玉あげような。あれ、どこにしまったんや。
ローザさん、お久しぶりです。マリアちゃんもお久しぶり。ご無沙汰してます、キリエ姉さん、秀吉兄さん。あら、バトラ君？大きくなったわね。
いやー今日は会うたびに言われてて恥ずかしいっすよ。
おう、ローザ。遅かったな。飛行機がダイヤ通りだったらギリギリってとこだったぜ。
ごめんなさい。列車の接続がうまくいかなくて。何？また天候調査中なの？ぼやかないぼやかない。船で6時間も揺られるくらいなら飛行機でほんの30分の方がずっとマシよ。
Yeah, I think I would too, honestly. Really? I'm gonna get rid of that. This damn streamer bot, bro. Likely ban evader. That's why the bot's not getting it. I gotta work on the coding. I'll fix it one day.
たとえ1時間余計に待たされたって全然早いんだから。
あれがマリアなのか。大きくなったな。成長期か。
前に会ったのは6年前？それは変わるわよ。女は心変わりがあればたった1日でも生まれ変わる生き物よ。
It's an interesting line.
ほ
Maria, noticing a big man she didn't recognize, mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rosa's back, and glared at Battle.
おいバトラ、挨拶しろい。前にやったのが3歳の時じゃ、初対面も同じだぞ。
3歳じゃ覚えてねえよな。よっ、マリア。久しぶり。大きくなったな。
マリア、バトラお兄ちゃんよ。ルドルフおじさんの息子さん。わかる？
おじさんの息子さんが、おじさんが息子さん。ほう。ふーい。
She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd be scared if a large guy like Battler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed that this as well and thought of various ways he might approach it. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It's in my eye, dude. Oh my goodness. It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet Rosa had bought for her.
そっか。10月だからハロウィンか。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
Normally, trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child would result in them crying and screaming. They don't seem dubious about Battler's tactics, but Maria looked unexpectedly pleased, and her face splitting into a wide grin.
ハロウィン、ハロウィン。ほらママ、バトラもハロウィン知ってる。ほらほら。
こーら、バトラお兄ちゃんと呼びなさい。ごめんね、バトラくん。
いやいや、気にしないっすよ。俺はバトラと呼んでくれ。俺もマリアって呼ぶからな。ほらマリア、ハロウィンだぞ。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Battler. When Battler accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival. So Battler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery, as though she had been friends for decades.
そうだな。日本じゃハロウィンってマイナーなイベントだよな。仮装行列で練り歩くなんて向こうのニュースではよく見るけど、日本じゃ見たことないぜ。
Damn.
マリアも仮装したかった。仮装していとこみんなでお菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞってやりたかった。
そっかそっか。今度俺と一緒にやろうな。マリアだったら何の仮装をして練り歩きたい？
魔女ベアトリーチェ。
Considered specifically as Beatrice, huh? Speaking of her,
おや、お嬢様、こんなところに。 奥様が探しておいででしたよ。
探されたくねえからこんなところにいるんだぜ。どうせみなりは大丈夫かとか、言葉遣いをちゃんとするようにとか、お小言が言いたいだけに違いないぜ。
違いありません。
私はさ、なぜか親族会議の日になるとこの魔女様が気になるんだよ。
ほう。それはまたどうしてでございましょう。
親族会議ってのはじい様に連なる全ての一族老頭が集まる日だ。今年は6年ぶりにバトラも来るそうじゃねえか。そんな感じでさ、何十年かぶりに今までずっと姿を現さなかった親族がひょっこりと現れるんじゃないかっていつも思ってるんだよ。
One relative hasn't shown themselves for several decades suddenly shows up? Is that the very important guest?
ほほう。
Several decades is a lot.
そんな親族がおりますでしょうか。
Is there an Ushiromia that we still haven't seen or know about?
ベアトリーチェ様だよ。
Oh.
素性は誰も知らない。
She's like 1,000, which is why I didn't think about her.
あるいは大昔のじい様の愛人なのか。その子孫がひょっこりと現れて授けた黄金を返せなんて言い出すかもしれないぜ。
クラウス様たちは親方様の遺産問題で今年も議論されるでしょうから。こうも魔女の黄金の話で盛り上がっては、黄金を与えた魔女本人がそろそろおいでになってもおかしくありませんね。
熊沢さんはさ、辞めたり勤めたりと忙しいけど、源氏さん並みに昔からここに出入りしてるわけでしょ。ベアトリーチェのこともっと知ってるんじゃないの？
さてどうでしょうね。思い出そうにもこの老いぼれ、今朝の朝食すらも思い出せませんので。
My kind of memory.
熊沢さんはいっつもそういう言い方で逃げるけど、何か知ってそうなんだよな。知ってて物陰で笑ってるみたいな陰湿な雰囲気が時々するぜ。
これは手厳しい。隠し事など何もしておりません。私から申し上げられることは、ベアトリーチェ様は黄金の魔女であられて、この島の夜を支配されているもう一人の主人であられるということだけでございます。
じい様の受け売りかよ。給料もらってるとはいえ、じい様の妄言に付き合うのも大変だな。
ただこれだけは申し上げられます。
何？
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。
Azukishima? Azuki Bean Island. I don't think that was in the first episode.
小豆は悪食がなまったものと言われ、本当は悪食島と呼ばれていたのだと漁民たちの間では伝えられておりました。
Tsukishima Akujiki. It was called Akujikishima Evil Appetite Island. Okay.
前にも聞いたよ。この辺は暗礁が多くて海難事故が多かったから、領民たちが恐れてむやみに近づかなかったって話だろ。
悪食島には悪霊が住み着いていて、太古の昔から人々の魂を喰らい続けてきました。この島に関わり命を奪われた人間はあまりにも多いのです。
それを旅の修験者だかなんだかが例の社を作って鎮魂したんで収まったってんじゃなかったっけ。うさんくせえ話だぜ。
その鎮魂の社はこの夏、暗き闇を引き裂く紫色の不気味な雷で打ち砕かれたとか。
熊沢さん、その話好きだな。確かに鎮魂の社が落雷でなくなっちまうなんて不気味だが、まあもともとオンボロだったしな。ちょっと高い波にでもさらわれたんじゃねえのかな。
眠りから目覚めた悪食島の悪霊がベアトリーチェ様を呼び寄せたのです。もしベアトリーチェ様が親族会議に訪れられるようなことがあったなら。
Is that really how it works?
あったなら。
Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so the gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed that she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly.
はてさて、どんなことになるやら。
That'll be interesting.
へえ、そいつは素敵じゃないかよ。
でしょ。たまには優雅な時間を得て、あなたの心を豊かにするのもあなたの仕事に役に立つんじゃないかしら。
だな。心と財布は豊かじゃなきゃいけねえ。わかったよ。その日は開けておくことにする。予約を頼むぜ。
わかったわ。絶対よ。
ああ、よろしく頼む。愛してるぜ、キリエ。
The kissing of receiver Rudolph hung up. Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of that phone call.
すまん、待たせたぜ。
Were they listening the whole time?
アメリカから連絡は来たか。
はい。外線にデイル渡辺弁護士からです。おつなぎします。
結局のところ、感触はどうなんだ。
それが一つ芳しくないようでして。先方は裁判をも辞さないつもりのようです。
やっぱりごまかしきれねえかな。
I wonder if this is the episode where we actually dive deep into each business and trouble that each person mentioned when they got to that big talk, that huddle. Last time it was brought about briefly, like, oh, Kraus knows this about you, this about you, but now it's like, I think it's like diving deeper now. Which is gonna be cool.
つないでくれ。
わかりました。すぐに。
The executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang.
もしもし。ハローハロー。
Hello, hello.
お待たせしました。後ろ宮です。どうもどうも。いかがですか、そちらは。
Hello, President 後ろ宮。
Is this gonna be just like actual English? Like,
挨拶は抜きで本題に入りましょ
oh, okay.
う。いいニュースと悪いニュースがありますが、どちらを先にしますか？
悪いニュースが先がいいな。デザートがないと頑張れないたちなんだ。
I like that. I might keep that.
わかりました。悪いニュースは先方が東方を告発する準備に入ったということです。つい先日、類似した裁判で原告が圧勝する判決が出されました。被告側も当方が主張するのとほぼ同じ内容で論戦していたのですが、全てにおいて却下されました。残念ながらこのまま法廷に臨めば当方の主張はことごとく却下される可能性が極めて高いでしょう。
例の裁判、全滅だったか。
About? I forget what the trial is for.
うちより有利な条件だったと思ってたんだが。そりゃ辛いな。で、いいニュースは？
先方の幹部と接触できました。先方に当方の立ち位置を説明し、先方のブランドイメージを侵害する意図がないことを説明し、理解を得ることができました。先方は近日中に条件提示を行い、それらの履行が行われるなら告発を見送ると約束しました。
感触は？
取締役会のナンバー2による発言です。正直、非常に厳しいものになると予想されます。当方の想定では避けられないものとして、社名変更、ブランド名変更。
So it's over brand names, like maybe?
交渉の余地のあるものとして、若い金額、大手新聞への謝罪広告掲載、それらの履行期間と見ています。
うちに潰れろと一言言やいいのに、周りくどい奴らだぜ。
This was the good news?
先方は近年2代目社長に交代したばかりで、まだ足固めが終わっていません。当方が徹底抗戦した場合、現社長に失点を与えたい勢力が何らかの利的工作をしかねないと懸念しています。
Oh, I see.
そのため、先方トップも本件を速やかに解決したいという思惑があるようです。
Okay, let's see.
そのため、迅速な和解のために多少の条件緩和を引き出せる余地も残っているかもしれません。
いずれにせよ、とんでもねえ金が必要になるか。
その覚悟は必要です。そして、それでも懲罰的賠償金よりははるかに安いかと。
ありがとう先生。
I don't like this side of the Umineko. It's like it's kind of nice and just different from the usual kind of situations and stuff we're going on.
また進展があったら連絡してください。先生は高級鳥だからヨタ話もできねえ。Thank you, thank you. Goodbye.
See you. Goodbye. Rudolph hung up the phone. The executive sitting in a reception seat seemed to have guessed at the contents of that discussion.
聞こえたか野郎ども。まあそうじるとだ。金さえ積みや堪忍してやるぜってわけだ。 あとは金の高だけを争点にすりゃいい。
The lore, you're right. This is actually cool. I actually have been interested in what specifically was happening on his end. And I hope they do this with Hideyoshi too. Like they have a Hideyoshi segment and they go over his end and Krause's and whatnot. Because I actually like this stuff.
しかし社長、渡辺氏の示した和解金の想定額はあまりにも膨大です。それだけの余裕はありません。
こんなことになるって分かってたら多角化なんて始めんじゃなかったぜ。
3年しのげれば資金的危機は脱出できる計算でした。まさかここで刺されるなんて本当についてない。
ホップステップジャンプのステップでこけちまったんだもんな。泣けるぜ。
メインバンクから金を引っ張るしかありません。
銀行はまずいな。連中は勝ち馬にしか金を出さん。景気は上向いてるが、銀行に弱みは見せられねえ。
社長、妨害に資金はありますか？我々の把握していない資金です。
よせやい。俺がそういう男に見えるかよ。俺の財布の中身は全てお前らにさらしてるぜ。そこにある帳簿が我が社の全てだ。
なら金策が必要です。数百万ドル単位を引っ張れるスポンサーが大至急必要です。
社長の交友関係で何とかなりませんでしょうか？社長
ああ、落ち着けてめえら。金策は俺が何とかする。お前らはガタガタせずに業務を維持しろ。金さえ積めば向こうは許すと言ってるんだ。すでに俺たちはアジアに太いパイプを持ってる。いろいろ響くだろうが取引は維持できる。要は金さえ積めりゃ全て解決できる問題なんだ。
Now I see why he was pressing so hard at the conference. This is the situation he's in.
見てろ、俺が全て解決する。お前らを路頭に迷わせなんかしねえぞ。大船に乗った気でいろい。無事に解決したらお前ら全員をシャンパンタワーでねぎらってやるぜ。約束する。だから黙って俺についてこい。いいな。
Dang, he's good at that. Okay, Rudolph. All right. The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Rudolph was just awake. He'd woken up early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat.
大丈夫？まだだいぶ眠いんじゃないの？このところだいぶ仕事が忙しかったようだし。
仕事が忙しいなんて大いに結構じゃねえか。俺が暇になっちまったら俺たち明日から路頭に迷うぜ。
そうね。バトラ君も帰ってきたんだから二人で物乞いすればいいって問題じゃないわよ。
そうだな。6年ぶりに家族が揃ったんだからな。家族水入らずで過ごせるよう課長が頑張らねえとな。
While he looked out the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drop in altitude considerably. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains in a short while ago, were starting to become clearly recognizable.
親父に土下座してげんこつ一発で1000万借りられるなら 1ダースくらいもらっときてえところなんだがな。
That's a weird way to phrase it. If I could prostrate myself before father and get 10 million every time he slugged me.
さもなきゃとっととお隠れになってくれりゃいいんだが。
That's your dad, bro.
散々すねをかじって今度は遺産目当てか。俺は地獄行きだな。
Yeah.
そりゃこんな俺に親父も会いたくはないだろうよ。
It's crazy. That's your own dad.
まさか今年も親族会議にお出にならないつもりですかな。
Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to a strange book on magic.
ハゲタカどもの議論に加わるつもりはない。好きに我が骨のしゃぶり方でも議論するがよかろう。実にくだらぬ。
やれやれ、困ったものですな。
Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo.
この部屋を出るべき時が来れば私は姿を現す。あれが姿を未だ現さぬようにな。
When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which had respectfully been displayed on the wall. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was the family conference, where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled only by the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked about Beatrice would trigger his wrath.
私は今日ある儀式を執り行う。
それは何ですかな。
儀式というよりは博打に近い。なぜならリスクを負わぬ魔法に奇跡は宿らぬからだ。
Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. You might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumph.
かつて黄金のギャンブラーと言われた金蔵さんが、いつお迎えが来てもおかしくないそのご老体で、一体どんな博打に挑みますやら。これは見ものですな。
なるほど。研究を尽くした秘術の儀式も魔法にたけぬお前にかかれば博打呼ばわりか。まあいい。奇跡を信じる私が勝てば、お前の目には水郷にしか見えなかったであろう我が研究のすべてがこの日に結実したことをはっきりと理解できるだろう。お前が勝てば見たままの通りいつ迎えが来てもおかしくない年寄りの水郷に終わるだけだ。
ん？一体どんなギャンブルを始めるやら。あなたの友人としてその賭けに、いや儀式でしたか。その儀式にあなたが勝てるよう心からお祈りするだけです。
感謝する。
そういえば金蔵さん、今年の親族会議には懐かしい客がおられるそうですな。
Yeah, I'm wondering on that too.
何？
For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around.
ほら、ルドルフさんのところのバトラ君です。
I keep thinking it's that one important guest that he's talking
6
about.
年ぶりにおいでになるそうじゃありませんか。きっと立派になっていますよ。
なんだ、バトラか。6年ぶり程度の客人など懐かしいなどと呼びはせぬ。
That's what threw me off. Like, wait, what? I thought you meant like the several decades one, or you know, whoever they meant. Yeah, no. Long forms? Stretch. After hearing Battler's name and making a disappointed, ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again.
金蔵さんにとっての6年など、この部屋で研究に没頭すればあっという間のことでしょうからな。
本当に懐かしい客は、あるいは訪れるかもしれん。すべてはルーレットの出目次第だ。すでにルーレットは回り始めている。ルージュかノワールか。
Rouge or no?
今宵ルーレットがどんな奇跡を見せてくれるのか楽しませてもらおうではないか。配当は大きいぞ。そして負ける気はせぬ。ベアトリーチェよ、我が賭けを受けるがいい。
At that time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo, and he picked up the receiver to preserve the silence as much as he could.
何事か。私は忙しい。
源氏でございます。親族の皆様方が到着なされました。
Oh.
だからどうしたというのだ。適当に茶でも出せばよい。
かしこまりました。そのようにいたします。
Kinzo hung up the phone rudely. Looking at that, Nanjo sighed yet again and shifted his attention outside the window. As he is now, I doubt Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait and with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then gazed up at the lead-covered sky. Yeah, no, it's gotta be Beatrice. Also, I'm curious if it's gonna be the same people. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. We do hope you enjoy your stay and also survive. Welcome back to Rokenjima. I just got an achievement. Wait, what? So all the pieces are in place? Shall we line them all up again and start a new game? She talking to
何
me?
か問題は
Like you mean me? No. No.
ねえよ。
What? Wait, what? What is he doing in this? Wait. What the fuck? Where did we just go? Where did we just go? Where is this? Battler just sitting here actually just speaking with Beatrice, and what is this? I guess void little tea party area? Are they looking down? Wait, what? The lake? Wait, what do you mean by the lake? Is this Battler looking at himself and like the rest of the family? Like, are they like above somewhere looking down at what's happening? Like spectating this whole time? I'm a little bit curious. The real game. This is the real game. Huh. Okay. I guess we'll just go. I guess we'll just go. We'll see. The witch looked at him challengingly while elegantly smoking her pipe. And Battler, he just rudely shrugged his shoulders as if he didn't care what she just did. He didn't meet her eyes, but that didn't mean he didn't intend to challenge her. It showed a clear determination to never be taken in by his, this bastard's tricks. It was an expression of his determination to fight.
まさか無策ではあるまいな。
お前の出方がわからねえ以上、策も何もねえぜ。好きに先手を取ればいいじゃねえか。
Also, wait, didn't Ad not play? That's weird. It usually would have played by now. Ah, you can't make this shit up. Well. I see I was like maybe 30 seconds early. Quite literally just like 30 seconds early. And then it happened. Okay. Here we go.
もちろんそうさせていただくぞ。お前の守りをいかに崩すか、なんてで詰めるか、わらわの腕の見せ所よ。
Interesting.
お前がどんな手で来ようが、俺はお前を信じない。その一点を俺が貫き通す限り、俺に負けはない。
Okay, so the real game. Real game.
ってことはだ。このゲームはお前に勝てないようにできてるぜ。
そうかもしれぬ。しかしな、ゲームを何度繰り返すかはわらわが決めるぞ。 そしてわらわが勝ち、そなたが負けを認めるまで何度でも繰り返されるぞ。つまりこれは災難よ。
Purgatory Tea Party.
そなたがわらわに屈服するまで続く永遠の災難。そなたがわらわを魔女の存在を認めるまで永遠に続く。
なら俺もお前が根負けするまで何度でも無限に付き合ってやるぜ。
Hard-headed motherfucker.
意地の張り合いってやつでは負けた例がねえんだ。
どこぞの魔女にでも入れ知恵されたか。まあよい。
コタクは聞き飽きたぜ。さあおっ始めやがれ。
さあ始めようではないか。
Alright.
そなたの指し手はすでに知り尽くしておる。
It's time.
手の内を知られた守りなどたかが知れておる。同じ手でしのぎきれると思うでないぞ。
ベアトリーチェ、一つだけ最初に言っておくことがある。
なんだ。
お前が何をのたまおうと自由だ。だが俺が信じるかどうか常に俺が自分で決める。貴様の魔法がどれほどのものだったとしても俺の魂は屈しない。これは俺への拷問だと。違うね。
ならばなんだというのか。
これはお前への拷問なのさ。お前がいつ俺に屈し諦めるか。
Dude, he changed. He's doing like the Phoenix Wright shit, dude. Look at him. He thinks he's Phoenix Wright.
それまで繰り返される拷問なのさ。
It's quite literally a I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me situation.
面白いかな、その例えやよし。互いを苛み合う拷問とは実に面白い。さーて始めようではないか。後ろ宮バトラー。
Battler. Okay, looks like the chess pieces are set. And the game's about to begin. The real game, now that this is like the first actual game because now we understand what happened, how it all works. Everybody understands. And it's just like, all right, how does it go this time? So be it. Every year, the relatives visiting Rokujima would let out a sigh of admiration at the rose garden that first greeted them. They would stop there to chat about the rose's beauty and how well they were blooming that year. In the midst of all of this, there was a single unhealthy rose. Maria became overwhelmed with dejection at its condition. But George used his quick wits and, saying that everything would be fine, if they took care of this poor thing, marked it with a candy wrapper and immediately restored Maria's good mood. Okay, we're just skipping that. Then Battler, with whom she'd been getting along with since that morning, started talking about Halloween. This was such a favorite topic of Maria's that she began playing around energetically again. To Maria, that marshmallow jack-o'-lantern candy bought by her mother was probably the greatest sort of treasure. Finally, Battler is back. Yeah. He's back and ready for game 2. The real game this time. So we're gonna see how it goes. They seem to have bought several, and she demanded a trick or treat from every person she met, giving them candy instead of the other way around.
マリアはどうしてこんなにハロウィンが好きなんだろうな。日本人には一つ馴染みにくいイベントだと思ってたんだが。
仮装行列で練り歩く子供のお祭りだからじゃねえのか。普段と違う格好をしてはしゃぎ合うってのは楽しいぜ。
多分僕はもう少しディープな理由によるものだと思うな。何しろ魔女のマリアちゃんだからね。
そういや、飛行場でもマリアは仮装するなら魔女になりたいって言っていたっけ。マリアって魔女が好きなんだ。
ええ、大好きよ。困ったくらいに。
まあまあ、あのくらいの年頃はファンタジックな存在に憧れるもんですから。
せめてテレビアニメのヒロインに憧れるくらいなら可愛いんだけど。
Judging by Rose's appearance, she wasn't very happy about her daughter's love for witches as a mother. The cousins, other than Battler, seemed to realize this, and they shrugged, wearing stiff smiles.
魔女好きだとハロウィンも好きになるって論法なのか。わかんなきゃ本人に聞けばいいか。おいマリア、ハロウィンと魔女って何か関係あるのか。
As Battler asked that, George and Jessica let out a stifled ah, as if they were trying to stop him, but too late. Maria might have been waiting for just that question. After beaming for an instant, her expression turned a little mean, as if to say, "You're totally clueless, aren't you?" Yeah, she's got like that Beatrice face, where she's like possessed. It was the face of a hobbyist who's been ticked off by an outsider saying something stupid about their favorite subject.
ケルト人は1年間を通じてその勢いを変える太陽は1年を通して生まれ育ち老いて死んでそして再び蘇ると考えていたの。
Does she mean like the Celtics? When she says the Celts?
納得だな。春のか弱いポカポカした太陽がどんどん成長して暑いくらいになり、次第に痩せ衰えていく様をなるほど太陽の一生と考えるのもうなずけるぜ。
There's also a new OST, I think.
だから彼らは10月の最後に太陽は死に死の国で体を休めて冬至の日に再び蘇ると考えたの。それで太陽が1年の生涯を終えて死ぬその日を大晦日サビンと呼んでお祝いしたの。
Samhain?
再び日照時間が長くなりだす冬至の日を太陽の復活の日とする考え方はとても面白いよね。古代の人々がいかに太陽を神聖視していたかがわかるエピソードだよ。
なるほどな。で、それが魔女とどう関係があるんだ。
It seemed that my casual urging forward had slightly infuriated Maria. She glared at me with eyes that told me to shut up while she explained. Maria seemed to be having a blast as she talked, so I decided not to interrupt.
10月と11月の狭間は生と死が最も近くなる。
Oh, we're past November.
ケルト人たちはこの時期に聖者の世界と死者やこの世ならざる者の世界が最も近づき、異界の住人たちがたくさん訪れると信じてたの。日本でいうお盆みたいなものだよ。
On festival. At the time, people believed that souls returning to the physical world would go into people's houses or possess people and do bad things. So, in order to avoid harm, they performed rituals. One of those was to imitate creepy monsters and scare the souls back, which was apparently a way to avoid being possessed.
その部分がお祭りになっていって仮装行列になってったんだな。マリアは本当に物知りだぜ。
ほんまやな。わしもハロウィンに備えな言われがあるなんて知らんかったわ。
しかしそれのどこにお菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞってのが出てくるんだ。
Her knowledge was so extensive that the adults had suddenly started listening in too. Ooh. Maria, who was normally treated like the youngest all the time, puffed out her chest with pride. Saying that this was just a kid's discussion, Rosa suggested that the adults go on ahead and set their luggage down in the guest house. But nobody else agreed to go with her, and she let out a heavy sigh.
トリックオアトリートは単なるお遊び。本来のケルト人たちの儀式とは何の関係もない。それは後にキリスト教の習慣が混合してできたものなの。でもマリアは本来のハロウィンの姿とはそうあるべきだと思うの。
According to Maria, the souls of the dead weren't the only ones who visited from the non-human world. There were also spirits with intimate connections to people's everyday lives. Humans could receive favors from those spirits, so they'd managed to gain magnificent blessings, as well as a year's worth of good crops.
つまりハロウィンってのは収穫祭の意味も少しはあったわけか。
なるほどな。言われてみりゃ10月ってのは季節的にもいろいろ節目って気がするぜ。日本の4月のちょうど反対側だもんな。なるほど。キリはいいかもしれねえな。
うん。そしてね、魔女たちはね、その時期に魔女集会サバトを開いたの。魔女たちは豊かな恵みをもたらしてくれた精霊たちに感謝し、ねぎらったの。
ハロウィンの仮装は向こうから来る客人たちの模倣。つまり彼らにお菓子を施すのは一年の収穫への感謝の気持ちがあってもいいわけだね。
うん。ジョージお兄ちゃんの言う通り。
つまりハロウィンはこの世とあの世の交流のある時期ってわけなんだな。それでつまり魔女たちにとってはそういう世界の客人たちと交流できる大切な機会だったと、そう言いたいわけか。
おう、バトラの言う通り。だからね魔女たちや悪魔たちの力が最も活発で盛んになるのが10月なの。
Oh, it just so happens they're having the family conference around this time. Wow.
きっとベアトリーチェも来てくれる。
Exactly what I was thinking of. Yep.
してね、一緒にマシュマロお菓子食べて、マリアも黄金鏡に連れてってもらうの。一緒に魔法のお歌を歌って、魔法の呪文を習って、魔法陣の書き方を習うの。そしてね、ルーンの秘密を習って、早く早くマリアを立派な魔女にしてもらうの。
あらあら、それは素敵ね。子供は夢があるのが一番よ。
Yeah, at least have some whimsy.
ところでローザ、マリアちゃんは今年でいくつになったんだったかしら？
マリア、もうそのお話は終わりにしなさい。
気にしないでローザさん。女の子なら誰だって一度は思い描く夢じゃない。
ありがとうございます。でももうマリアはそういう年を卒業していますので。こら、やめなさいと言ってるでしょ。
Rosa scolded Maria, trying to shut her up before her cheery discussion about black magic earned her the snickers of the relatives.
へえ。そいつはなんだかスケールのでかい話だな。ところで、ベアトリーチェって誰だっけ？なんだっけ？聞いた名前だな。
Rather had been gone for 6 years and had completely forgotten about the legend of the Rokujima witch. However, when he said he didn't know Beatrice's name, Maria once bright mood soured in an instant. When he saw that, Battler immediately remembered that it was the name of the witch of this island, but the damage had been done. Until Maria's mood improved, she went on and on about many mysterious and fabulous episodes regarding the Golden Witch.
もうよしなさい、マリア。ありがとうね、バトラ君。お話に付き合ってくれて。カノン君、お仕事があるんでしょ？もう行ってちょうだい。
OK。
ゴーダさん、みんなとりあえず荷物を置きたがってると思うの。悪いんだけど、みんなをゲストハウスへ案内してくれるかしら。
She is moving this along. Okay.
かしこまりました。それでは皆様、ゲストハウスへご案内いたします。
それでは失礼いたします。
Goda led the relatives and they began to head towards the guest house. They were eager to set down their luggage and take a breather, so they didn't realize that Rosa and Maria weren't coming with them. Ah, it's that look again. After watching them leave towards the guest house, Rosa's face changed suddenly. She let go with the hand that had been gripping Maria this whole time. There was a bright red mark there, making it clear how much excessive force she had been using on Maria's slender arm. Yeah. That hand then slapped against Maria's head, pinched her left ear, and lifted.
魔女の話はするなといつも言ってるでしょうが。それはママとの約束だといつも言っているでしょ。
ママ痛い、ママ痛い、痛い、痛い、痛い。
God damn it.
ハロウィン、ハロウィン、うるさいのよ、あんたは。
They were doing so well. They literally bonded at the train station and like made up and everything, and you just go and undo all that shit.
魔女のお祭り？ケルト人が何よ、黒魔術が何よ、バカじゃないの。あんた9歳よ、9歳。電車であんなに騒ぐから、わざわざ電車降りてまでその蛍光塗料みたいな気持ち悪いお化けマシュマロを買ってやったのよ。
遅刻してまであんたに買ってやったのよ。あんたどこまで私の顔を潰せば気が済むのよ。
This was accursed. She twisted Maria's ear up, almost as though she was about to tear it off. Expression of anguish spread across Maria's face while she frantically stood on her tiptoes, trying to soften the pain in that ear. Rosa suddenly grabbed the candy that Maria had been holding. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh. God damn, I thought each one was a hit. She threw it on the ground and stepped on it over and over. To Maria, it was supposed to be proof of a memory, of a brief span of time when her mother had bought something fun for her. But now, that same mother was grinding it into the ground right in front of her. It was though a brand had been pushed into Maria's eyes, leaving a mark that could never be erased.
こんな気持ち悪いお菓子が何よ。気持ち悪い、気持ち悪い。あんたがそんなんだから、あんたがそんなんだから。気持ち悪い、気持ち悪い、気持ち悪い。
As she said that, she struck Maria's head over and over again with her palm. She didn't hit Maria's face, because the red swelling would stand out. Tactically, domestically abusing, man. Maria closed her eyes tightly, patiently bearing her mother's violence. No, that wasn't quite it.
帰ってきてママ、帰ってきてママ。助けてママ、助けてママ。悪い魔女に打ち勝って。
She kept bearing Rosa's assault, muttering that over and over.
だからその魔女ってのをやめろつってんのよ。この子ら。
We're not done with this. Rosa, tired of hitting her daughter, breathed so hard her shoulders shook. Maria grasped her hands together with Sandy, hoping her mother would return soon.
ママ、ママ、早く帰ってきて。マリアを助けてよ、ママ。悪い魔女をやっつけてよ。
いつまでもそこでそうしていなさい。そしてそこで魔女でもハロウィンでもいつまでもブツブツ一人で言ってればいいのよ。
After hurling those words at Maria, Rosa left in the direction of the guest house, leaving Maria behind. Okay, so we're recreating Maria being alone again, but under different circumstances. Maria, forgetting even that it was okay to cry, kept staring down at the jack-o'-lantern candy that had been trampled beyond recognition. God damn it, bro. I'm just saying it right now, right? For episode 3 and 4, if I gotta go through that shit again, I don't know how I'm gonna feel.
どこ行ってたの?
There's gotta be a way to just like time skip that or something. Yeah, look, Hart, I don't know if it was you or someone else that said it like a long time ago, but whoever said they could fix Rosa, I'd love to see you try. I'd love to see you try. So I don't see it, bro.
バラが素敵だったものでついつい。
ローザ、早く荷物を置いてこいよ。兄貴んとこへ挨拶に行こうぜ。
We're gonna get a Spotify rap, YouTube rap, Discord rap, Amazon Music rap reaction, Mr. Lakos. I could do a Spotify and Discord rap Sure, some other time, but I don't really apply to any of those other ones. I don't... Actually, YouTube probably would have its own rap. I don't know. Maybe I'll do those some other time. That's a lot of raps.
んマリアちゃんはどうしたんやまだ花壇におるんかいな
気に入ったバラがあるみたいで世話をするって言って聞かなくてしばらくは好きにさせることにしました
Yeah, that's the lie that we're gonna go with, huh?
女の子には女の子の世界があったことを私たちはたまに忘れるわ。
This mansion needs CCTV, so we all of it can get caught on tape next time.
時には尊重してあげないとね。
そうね。お気遣いをありがとう、キリエ姉さん。ゴーダさん。私たちの部屋はどこ？
ご案内いたします。こちらでございます。お荷物をお持ちいたしましょう。
結構よ。自分で持てます。ありがとう。
I wonder why there's a single chair at the end of the hallway. Rosa went into her room, guided by Goda. She then closed the door somewhat violently and threw her luggage on top of the bed. Cuck chair? Yeah. Either sitting and listening just the whole time. She got down on her knees in front of the bed, burying her face in it. For a while, Rosa made as if to shred the sheets with her fingernails, sobbing constantly. It's the Beatrice waiting chair.
マリア様。大丈夫ですか?
Cannon appeared from behind a thicket after watching Rosa leave. Really? After getting hit a bunch of times? Maria gave a creepy laugh, but to Cannon, who had seen the whole thing, it looked like she was enduring as best as she could.
最低のやつだ。あれで母親なんて。
I can't either.
仕方ないよ。その程度の器にはその程度のが入り込む。
Container of that level?
マリアは全然平気だよ。
What? Cannon got down on his knees and picked up the trampled candy. It was tragic just looking at it. He thought about dusting it off and returning it to her, but really couldn't do so with it in that condition. Just as he was wondering what to do, he met Maria's gaze. No, that wasn't quite right. Maria was looking at the candy Cannon had picked up. Right now, Maria's heart was surely the same as the candy that had been trampled into a pulp. Cannon realized this, but didn't know what he should do.
そうだ。さっき僕がもらったのと交換してあげるよ。
Cannon remembered that a similar candy he'd received from Maria was in his pocket. Maria stuck out her hand. Cannon thought she was trying to take it, so he held out the candy, but Maria didn't try to grasp it. And Cannon realized she was saying give it back. No matter how tragic and trampled it was, the candy that was Maria's. Her mother had bought it for her. No matter how tragic, it had to be this candy and no other. If only were intact enough that it could be fixed by dusting it off. Cannon hung his head.
僕には誇りを払う程度しかできない。ごめん。
Cannon held out the miserable-looking candy Maria wanted. She took it and spoke.
ありがとう。人間には誇りしか払えないけど、魔女には元通りに直すことができるよ。
Is that the plan?
ベアトリーチェなら簡単にね。
マリア様はベアトリーチェ様のことをご存知なのですか？
Of course she does. Except for Battler, there was no way anyone really related to the Ushiromiya family could have failed to know Beatrice's name. But just now, Maria had bragged about Beatrice to Battler. She had spoken almost as though she was meeting with Beatrice regularly. Cannon felt a sharp pain inside his left hand, which was curled into a fist. In the past, a witch called Beatrice had appeared to tempt him and Shannon. He always tried to think of it as a bad dream. However, Shannon insisted that it definitely was a real witch. And then this summer, the shrine to the local Shinto god was hit by lightning, disappearing without a trace over the span of a single night. He knew about Shannon breaking that mirror. And he remembered that, as the witch departed, she said she'd eventually be revived. And now, this girl who believed absolutely in Beatrice spoke as though she'd met Beatrice herself. Cannon couldn't surpass the vague sense of foreboding welling up in his heart. For a while, Maria remained silent, as though she could see into Cannon's heart. Almost as though she was waiting for a memory of Beatrice to be revived. And then she spoke, as though it was fact.
マリアはね、ベアトリーチェとお友達なの。今日だって会って一緒に遊ぶよ。
Today?
遊びますか？
うん。遊ぶよ。一緒にね、魔法のお勉強をするの。
You say so. Also, why the hell is my phone going off? 1 second. Put this on D&D. Ugh. Put this on Do Not Disturb. Alright, there we go. The face of that witch, whom Cannon had tried to pretend was a bad dream, began to slowly creep into the back of his mind.
お父様は研究で大変ご多忙と仰せです。残念ながらこちらへはおいでになれないとのことです。
やれやれ。こちとら秋の大忙しの中、日程をつけてはるばる六軒島まで来てるんだぜ。親父も少しは愛想をよくしてもらいたいもんだぜ。
Now he knows what the topic is about.
ほんとよね。南條先生、本当に研究や機嫌の問題なの？ベッドから起き上がれないくらいに容体が悪いって言うんじゃないの？
さて、どうでしょうかな。私の口からは何とも。
Naruto glanced at Natsu. It seemed he thought it wasn't his place to speak without first getting Natsu's approval.
お父様はますますにご健康でいらっしゃいます。寝たきりなどと失礼極まりない。
でも余命3ヶ月なんでしょ。普通に考えれば痩せ衰えてベッドからも起きられないはずよ。でしょ、南條先生。
波の患者ならそうでしょうがな。金蔵さんは並外れた気力をお持ちです。あの気迫にお向かいも恐れて近寄れないのかもしれませんな。
それほどまでにお元気なら少なくとも安心ね。
そこまで元気ならせめて挨拶くらいはさせてほしいもんなんだがな。親族会議ってのは親父の顔を見に来たって意味なんだぜ。これじゃあ何のために来たのかわからねえぜ。
そう言うな。いればいたで心が休まらないといつもぼやくのだろうが。兄弟一同水入らずで今年も全員欠けることなく集まれたことを喜ぼうじゃないかね。
昨年の親族会議でも会えなかったのよ。血を分けた子供たちが2年ぶりに挨拶したいというのがどうして理解してもらえないのかしら。
挨拶の言葉があるのでしたら私どもがお伝えします。それともエヴァさん、何かお父様にお会いして挨拶以上のお話でもあられるのですか？
いやね、何の話よも
う。予算かエヴァ。夏井さん、堪忍な。エヴァも娘としてお父さんの病状が不安なだけなんや。ちょいと気持ちを汲み取ってな。
その通りだな。エヴァは親父殿が嫁を宣告されてから急に親孝行をするようになったじゃないか。なるほど。その姿をぜひ見てもらいたいという気持ちもわからなくない。
何が言いたいのよ。
よせよ姉貴。晩飯までには機嫌を直してくれるよう祈ろうじゃねえか。それに俺たちは到着したばかり。まずは軽く挨拶に訪れただけだぜ。親族会議は親父抜きだってできる。いや、兄弟で意見を統一してからじゃなきゃ話せねえことだっていろいろあるはずだぜ。な、秀吉兄さん。
そうや。ルドルフ君の言う通りや。わしらが全員顔を揃えるのは年に一度しかない。貴重な時間を大事にし、汚い話し合いをせんといかん。
Even though the tea hadn't arrived yet, they were very determined.
でもその前に本家の素晴らしい調度品に囲まれた客間でのんびりと紅茶を楽しむゆとりがあってもいいんじゃないかしら。
Kyrie's words seemed to contain a subtle admonition directed at everyone gathered here. They all understood, and as they cleared their throats and straightened their neckties, the atmosphere in the room returned to normal for a time. I'm just waiting until they ramp up for the big talk. The heated debate. I'm waiting to see that again, that round 2. That was fun the first time.
お茶をお持ちいたしました。
よー、シャノンちゃん。ますますべっぴんさんになったな。
Shannon entered the parlor, pushing the serving cart. Everyone decided to relax and enjoy some black tea for the time being. A wonderful aroma began to spread throughout the room. As far as anyone could see, the strained atmosphere from before Shannon's arrival seemed like a lie. Of course, Shannon, who was setting out the tea, probably didn't even notice. Kyrie seemed to laugh faintly at how adult everyone was suddenly acting. Rudolph didn't like it when Kyrie took the initiative and spoke at the family conference. It was his worthless male pride. He probably didn't want to look like a weak man who took advice from his wife. Oh god. It's the 1800s. She understood that and did her best to refrain from saying any more than was necessary. So she separated herself from the circle of siblings who only superficially appeared to be enjoying some time together alone and casually drank her tea near the window.
あら、ローザさん。兄弟で水入らずなのでは？
ご冗談を。
ごめんなさい。気を悪くしないで。うちの夫に呆れてるだけだから。
Apparently, Rosa hadn't been able to keep up with that on-the-surface friendliness. They'd come here to fight bloodily and dirtily, each trying to grab a part of the inheritance for themselves. She probably didn't like suddenly pretending that they were all chummy. Or maybe she was still too immature for that.
だいぶ風が出てきているようですね。枝葉があんなに揺れて。
もう台風が近くまで来ているのでしょうね。今夜あたりからはだいぶ降るのかしら。
マリアちゃん、この1年でずいぶん立派になりましたね。
Hey, speaking of her, ain't she still outside?
そう見えます。未だに自分のお洋服を畳むことすらできないんですよ。
ええ。こんなにも愛情たっぷりなお母さんと一緒なんですもの。心の豊かな子に成長しますよ。
Rosa fell silent. Maybe she was unsure as to what Kyrie meant by that.
私なんて母親失格ですよ。子に生まれる親は選べない。あの子がかわいそうで。
お互い様じゃないですか。親だって生まれる子は選べない。
That's also true. Rosa bit her lower lip.
どちらが悪いとかじゃなくて、一緒に生きていくんだという気持ちで、ゆっくり成長を見守ってあげればいいじゃないですか。ローザさんは毎日をマリアちゃんと過ごしてるから、小さな変化に気づかないかもしれないけれど、1年ぶりに再会した私たちには、その大きな成長ぶりがよくわかりますよ。
もし
本気で言ってくれてるならありがとうございます。それでは失礼いたします。
Wait, hold on. I want to check something right quick. Where's Rosa? That's what it was. Okay. I was wondering if they would have that situation, or if they would show what her deal was.
ご用がありましたらいつでもお呼びつけください。
Shannon bowed politely and left the room. As Hideyoshi and Rudolph, who had a soft spot for women, watched her go, the atmosphere of the room began to revert back to what it had been right before Shannon's visit.
お父様がいらっしゃられないなら、それはそれでできる話もあるというものよ。ねえ、ルドルフ。
ああ、そうだな。俺たちははるばるここまで埃の匂いがする紅茶を飲みに来たわけじゃねえぜ。
It's time.
よかろう。
Let's get down to business. Let's have the brass tacks talk.
一秒を争ってお前たちがしたいという話を聞こうじゃないか。
やれやれ。たくましい人たちね。早速始めたわ。
私も加わらないといけないわ。あの人たち、私が主張しないと4人兄弟であることをすぐ忘れるから。
あなたも大変ね。ちょっと言葉を選ばなかったかしら。ごめんなさい。
ううん、気にしてません。こちらこそごめんなさい。私たち互いに娘を持つ母親同士なんだから、もっと交流しなきゃいけないのに、いっつも会えば変な話ばかりで。
この屋敷の空気のせいよ。ここの空気を嗅ぐといっつも私たちはギスギスし合ってるもの。ローザさんとは親族会議じゃない席で一度ゆっくりお茶でも飲みたいわ。銀座に行きつけの素敵な喫茶店があるの。ぜひ今度招待させて。
Nice.
ありがとう、キリエさん。その時はぜひ。
She could use it.
いやーね。急に空が暗くなってきたわ。まるでこの部屋の人たちが天気を悪くしてるみたい。もうゴロゴロ鳴ってるわ。あら、ぽつりと来たかしら。
There really were small splashes of rain on the glass of the parlor window. The weather seemed to have worsened faster than expected. Caught me off guard. Just then, a silent thunderbolt struck inside Rosa's head, and she remembered that, oh, that's right, that her beloved child was out in the rose garden. A normal girl would try to go inside if the weather got bad. Amelia was different. She would sometimes get stubborn and refuse to move if the rain or even spears fell from the sky. That's right, I told that child to just stay there doing that forever, didn't I? That's right. It's on you. Everyone looked back at Rosa when she let out a small scream.
なんだ、どうしたんだね。
ごめんなさい。ちょっと表に行ってきます。すぐ戻ります。
なんだなんだ、どうしたってんだあいつ。
いいじゃない。すぐ戻るわよ。それより始めたら？ 私たちの本題。
そうね。ローザ抜きでも進められる話よ。話を戻しましょう。
Rosa dashed from the entrance hall into the rose garden. When she opened the door, the wind that hit her was too strong to be called a light breeze. It told her that the typhoon was approaching faster than she thought. Just as Kairi had said, the wind was mixed in with small droplets of rain. There was also a low rumble of thunder. It could start raining any time. Rosa headed for the rose garden. She headed for the place where she had scolded Maria a short while ago. It was almost lunchtime. The children had been told to come to the mansion around lunchtime, so they were probably in the guest house waiting to be called. Even if Maria didn't come to them, they would surely think I took her to the mansion with me. They wouldn't worry much, and that they did. After all, she had been with her mother, so there should have been no reason to worry. I was here, and I abandoned my daughter to the worsening weather. I was right. She was still standing, stock still, exactly the same way she had been in the place where I had scolded her. Held in her hand was the candy that I had bought, given her, and then stepped on and crushed. With that gripped in her hand, she stood there as the powerful winds whipped her hair about, tormenting her. She's lucky that she's blaming it on that. She is so lucky. I feel like she doesn't deserve that. Rosa buried her face in Maria's small chest, crying and begging forgiveness. And once again, those tears dripped down after who knows how many times. If only the brilliant sun had been shining on the two of them. All of their cares would have been evaporated, and it might have felt like they could begin anew. However, what surrounded the two of them was the worsening weather. Sadly, there was only fierce winds with occasional thunder. The sound of Maria sniffling brought Rosa to her senses. If Maria stood exposed to the wind for too long, she'd probably catch a cold. Rosa thought she'd already received Maria's forgiveness, so she hadn't imagined Maria would refuse. But the expression on Maria's face didn't look like that of a child resisting her mother. So Rosa couldn't understand why Maria wanted to stand still pointlessly as the weather grew even worse. Maria answered that question.
うすぐ来るの。だから待ってるの。
マリア。
Rosa struggled to find words for a moment, then fell silent. They'd only just managed to make up after. She chose her words carefully, trying to get Maria to come with her to the mansion without denying the witch outright.
ベアトリーチェが来るの？そう。ならここじゃなくてお屋敷の中で待ちましょう。いつまでもこんな風の中にいたら風邪をひいてしまうわ。
Okay, it's not a bad idea.
来る。ベアトリーチェは来る。そしたらね、ベアトリーチェにね、お菓子あげるの。トリックオアトリートするの。ジャック・オーランタンのマシュマロお菓子あげて、ハッピーハロウィーンって言うの。
Halloween. Maria pulled yet another sweet out of her handbag, moaning, ooh, ooh. Rosa was bewildered and didn't know what to do as Maria started being difficult again. Yep, happy Halloween. You know what, for Umineko? I think it's never too late to say happy Halloween. At that time, there was a sudden blast of thunder. It was probably a sign. A sign that this island had been sealed off by the storm, detached from common sense and reality. I say this every time. I speak of common sense and reality, but we know a certain someone who's going to stick to that ground. So, after this moment, all common sense would probably cease to apply. The wind blew even stronger, and amidst that blizzard of scattered rose petals, a figure appeared, leaving Rosa unable to imagine that this was a scene from reality. Oh, wait, right now? It was probably, no, definitely fantastic. After all, the shadow of a person was, drum roll, guess it, whoa, wait, damn. Read a newspaper. I don't even know how. Dude, I don't know how newspaper works. Never mind. No post this. Insane ad timing. You're so right. You were so 100% right. Literally, Ashley spawned in, dude. That's great. So everybody back? Before I begin, just want to make sure. Okay. Okay. Alright. I think we're all back. Just making sure. Probably go to like 8:30 this time, because I do have some other stuff I gotta do tonight and dinner. Maria dashed over to the shadow. Normally Rosa would scold her daughter if she dashed over to someone with whom she hadn't seen before and didn't know. But Rosa forgot to do that and was unable to do anything but stand there stunned.
久しぶりよ。元気であったか?
I didn't know she could like put on a suit and everything. This is a new outfit.
マリアは元気。魔女は風邪をひかない。
I've been well. I know. And look, I still plan to. We can do it on like the next session. On the next session, we can do the usual. But tonight specifically, I have a few other things I gotta do. But yeah, she is fire. 24-hour next Thursday is crazy. The only way a 24-hour of anything is happening is if we reach 100 followers. It's only two way. That's the only time a 24-hour like of anything's happening.
魔女は呪いにて風邪をひかせはするが、自らが引いてはなんとも間抜けな話よ。せいぜい自らが風邪をひくことなどないよ。これからも精進するがいい。
She patted Maria's head as she said this, smiling roguishly. Rosa couldn't have known the name of the woman who was happily spoiling Maria. However, Maria had called it out in the beginning when the woman appeared. So, even though Rosa had never met her, even though the woman still had introduced herself, Rosa was able to know her name. However, that name had held a special meaning on Rokenjima and in the Ushiromiya family. There's no way something that stupid could be...
ベアトリーチェ、ハッピーハロウィン。ほら、買ったの。ベアトにもあげる。
ハッピーハロウィン。ほう、これをわらわにとな。天国にも地獄にも行けず、煉獄の闇にてさまよう男の唯一の明かりも、こうして歌手となれば実に可愛らしいことよ。人の世とも、人ならざる者との世とも切り離された今のこの島で、これほどふさわしい歌詞はないかもしれぬな。ん？マリア、それはどうしたのか？
The witch noticed the sweet Maria was grasping. It was Maria's candy, which had been stomped on by Rosa until it reached this pitiful state.
おお、踏んづけて潰れちゃった。ベアトは元に戻せる？
Maria didn't go so far as to say that it was her mother who'd stepped on it. Good. However, for some reason, when the witch saw that candy, she looked at Rosa and grinned. A chill went down Rosa's spine, as though this gaze was staring straight through her.
たやすいことよ。かすがよい。
Maria held the candy out gleefully. Rosa could do nothing but watch, stunned. How did this person plan to trick Maria somehow, undoing the fact that the candy had been pitifully trampled? Maria looked as though she believed it could be fixed good as new. Without real magic, there was no way such a thing could be possible.
これは見事に潰れているな。さあさあマリア、目を閉じて思い出してごらんなさい。本当はあんなにも素敵なお菓子だったから、思い出の中のお菓子はいつもふっくら。だからあなたも思い出してごらんなさい。本当はどんなお菓子だったのか。
Along with those strange words spoken as though singing in an improvised folk song, the witch threw the sweet into the air. Maria was closing her eyes and remembering, just as the witch had told her to. What shape had the crushed candy really had? Therefore, only Rosa saw that scene. The sweet that had been thrown into the air burst into a gold color. No, that wasn't it. Those were golden butterflies. It scattered into several golden butterflies, hands. They began to gather at the witch's hand, which was held up to the sky. And as she did this, unbelievably, it returned to its beautiful original form, no different from when it had been brought. But yeah. Only Rosa and the witch witnessed that scene. Unable to comprehend what was occurring right before her eyes, Rosa stood with her mouth hanging open, completely forgetting to shut it.
もう目を開けてよいぞ。受け取るがよい。これでそなたの歌詞も元通りだ。
ベアトリーチェはいつもすごいすごい。
Funny, Rosa is the one to see it this time, huh? Okay. There was a stark contrast between Rosa's shock and Maria's innocent joy. Was that what the witch was laughing at? A smile floated to Beatrice's face, one different from the smile she had shown Maria.
わらわの顔が何かに似ているというのか？そうまじまじと見られては穴も開こうぞ。
ごめんなさい。
Those words triggered something very clear in Rosa's mind. Rosa knew this face. She knew it from the portrait of the witch. But, no, wait. Could this mystery woman really be...
マリア、この歌詞の代わりに、そなたにはこれを与えよう。
Oh, we got the first letter! We just got a letter. The witch pulled a western envelope from her pocket and gave it to Maria. However, when Maria made it open, the witch stopped her.
ならぬ。それを開けるときはすぐに訪れるが、それまで決して開けてはならぬ。大事に持っているがよい。 そなたを黄金鏡へいざなう招待状となろう。
黄金鏡、やっと連れてってくれるんだね。
大事にしまっておくのだぞ。誰にも見せてはならぬ。
魔女との約束は絶対に守る。
そしてこれはそなたへだ。
Ooh. She probably hadn't imagined that the witch would speak to her, too. Rosa was bewildered by the second western envelope, which was thrust before her. 2 of them! So we get 2 letters! Wait! Okay, this is way different from how the first time went already. There could be no mistake. It was one of Kinzo's special envelopes, used when he wrote with his own hand and bearing the Ushiromiya family crest. It was sealed with red sealing wax. And furthermore, it had a mark that seemed to be made of the head's ring. In other words, even without asking what was inside this letter, Rosa knew that this woman, whom Maria called Beatrice, was trusted enough to be placed in charge of a personal letter of the current Ushiromiya head.
4兄弟の誰でもよかった。だが、ここでそなたと出会ったということは、金蔵のルーレットがそなたを選んだということなのだろう。ならば受け取るがよい。そしてその中身を、全兄弟の揃う晩餐の席上で読み上げよ。
So Maria's can't be read yet, and Rosa's can be read at the dinner table. Okay. Rosa looked back and forth several times between the witch's face and the envelope that had been handed to her. Today was the family conference, and the biggest object of discussion would be the inheritance problem. So she had joined together with Eva and Rudolph, and they planned to force a certain condition on Kraus to try and extort several 100 million yen in cash out of him. It was as if the witch could see through all of that. What does she intend to announce when all of us siblings are gathered? And with a personal envelope that no one but the Ushiromiya can use, or Ushiromiya head can use.
マリア、天気が崩れるぞ。ゲストハウスへ戻り、昼を待つがよい。それではローザ、後ほど会おう。
Interesting.
その席で改めて名乗らせてもらおうぞ。
Just PowerPoints away? Okay. The witch turned her back to her, laughing. Then she began to head towards the mansion with an air of composure. She's gonna walk in? Maria energetically called out and watched her go, and then began to dash towards the guest house, leaving Rosa behind. As though she wanted to inform the other cousins of her fortunate meeting with the witch as soon as she could. At last, Rosa was left alone in the rose garden as the winds grew stronger. Unable to do anything but pray that what had happened was just a daydream. Okay. So Rose is going to be the one in contact. Okay. And she's going to be the one to read the first letter. When the witch reached the entrance hall, Genji could be seen there. Genji welcomed the guest approaching from the entrance hall with a respectful bow. He knew. He knew. Ah, she just got at it. Let me see. Oh, that's a completely different outfit. That's cool. The mysterious visitor and 19th person who appeared on the day of the family conference. She goes by the same name as the golden witch who gave the gold to Kinzo. Her reasons for visiting are unknown. She was ushered into the VIP room, which no one had been allowed to use in the past. Wait, okay, so this is interesting. They have it noted down here ahead of time that she is a 19th person. In the first episode, it was a debate and a little argument whether a 19th person existed. They were going back and forth on that because she kept appearing like randomly, you know, at different times. No one had really like seen her. But this time, she's like dressed in like an actual official outfit. They're already saying, confirming right here, she's going to be the 19th person. So I'm guessing, is she just going to walk around the mansion and just exist at this family conference as like a person now? Like she's just going to self-insert into the situation this time as the 19th person. But I guess still doing, you know, magic shit here and there. Dude, this is going to be such an interesting way to like hand through this game this time. It's going to be done so much differently. It's going to be interesting.
久しぶりだな、源氏。老いたではないか。
どれほどに老いようとも、家具は家具らしく、最後までお務めを果たすのみでございます。
晴れの妻がお前に嫉妬したことも懐かしい。金蔵は元気か？
大変お元気にございます。
ふん。
Bush probably laughed because she knew Kinzo's own doctor had announced that Kinzo didn't have long to live. However, if anyone actually looked at Kinzo and noticed this vigor, which wasn't at all what you'd expect from someone nearing the end of his life. They might easily call that doing extremely well. Maybe that's what the witch was laughing at.
挨拶に行こうではないか。30年ぶりに互いに呪いの言葉を吐き合うもよかろう。
30 years, damn. Okay. As the witch grinned, she started walking, leaving Genji behind. Her gait was like that of a family member who knew the inside of the mansion well. Genji followed her in the manner of one who served her. He knows. She's just one of the masters of Rokkenjima. I mean, this is normal. At that time, Kairi came out of the parlor. She'd probably gone out to fix her makeup or something. And when she saw Genji following a witch, she was surprised, although her expression did not change. I don't think we've seen that sprite before. A guest for Kinzo had arrived, despite him being almost dead on the day of the family conference when the fate of the inheritance was to be decided. And furthermore, this person was familiar enough with the Ushiromiya family household that Genji was following behind her. Kairi immediately realized that this person had never met before was deeply important. She had never met before. Kairi and the witch's eyes met. Realizing that it would be rude to pretend not to notice, she greeted the witch.
はじめまして。
ルドルフの5歳だったか。
さようでございます。ルドルフ様の今の奥方様であられます。キリエ様でございます。
From this exchange, Kairi realized that this was a guest of fairly high rank, even amidst the Ushiromiya family. And the fact that this was a guest on that level, coupled with her resemblance to the portrait in the entrance hall, made Kairi's eyes instantly open. So she... Okay, flashbang. Whoa! The portrait updated, yo! Oh shit!
はじめまして。
It got updated with her outfit. That's cool.
キリエと申します。初対面でしょうか。もし以前に挨拶をしていたなら、名前を忘れてしまって申し訳ございません。
うすうすは想像がついているくせに、わらわにあえて名乗らそうというのか。
Kairi thought she'd given a sociable and humble greeting. Her expression grew slightly cloudy at that openly oppressive response. At any rate, this didn't seem to be a person she could grow to like. But if Kairi's guesses were correct, this witch probably held a vital key to what her own husband was most interested in. Something that could help but influence tonight's family conference. So without shooting back a retort, Kairi silently watched her go up the stairs to the second floor, with Genji following behind. That's cool when they update stuff like that. So when someone tapped her shoulder from behind, she was so surprised she almost choked. It was Natsumi.
キリエさん、
wait, okay.
このようなところに立ち尽くして、いかがなさいましたか？
ごめんなさい。ちょっと魔女の肖像画に見とれていただけです。
黄金の魔女、ベアトリーチェですか。今日の後宮家の復興は、彼女が授けた黄金がなければ成し遂げられなかったとか。お父様らしい幻想的なお話ですね。
Natsumi spoke in a perfectly ordinary way. It was the sort of comment you'd expect from someone convinced that the thought of a witch existing was ridiculous. No more than another of Kinzo's ramblings. However, for some reason, that point of view didn't seem quite right to Kairi now. Just a moment ago, she herself had seen the Golden Witch come in from the entrance hall and climb up the stairs. So Natsumi's words made it feel as though someone was trying to deny the existence of that person, or else make it seem like she was never there to begin with.
ごめんなさい。少し頭痛がする気がして。ちょっと休もうと思います。
あら、そうですか?
She the one with the headache this time.
なら、良い頭痛薬がありますよ。用意させましょう。
Interesting. The hallway in front of Kinzo's study was filled with the scent of sweet poison, peculiar to that green liquor. Genji, who was completely used to it, did not grimace. And the Golden Witch didn't grimace either.
この中からどれほど出ぬのか。
すでに数年になるかと思います。
Several years, goddamn.
それほどまでにわらわをカゴの鳥としたいか。哀れな。それを願うそなたが今やカゴの鳥。書斎の亡霊ではないか。それに気づけぬとは哀れな男よ。
あなた様と再びお会いする日までは、おそらく文字通り亡霊となっても研究を続けられるでしょう。
I always knew Genji had a sense of humor.
愛か狂気か猛襲か。それも講じれば魔力となるか。悲しき魔術師よ。
The witch grasped the doorknob to the study. Ooh! When she did, there was a sound like that flesh burning and splitting open. It's that scorpion charm, huh? It was the sound of the doorknob literally burning the witch's hand. Interesting.
ベアトリーチェ様。
なんだこれは。魔除けか。
Ooh, actually surprised.
あやつめ。こんなものに頼らなければ、おのがみも保てぬというのか。
その扉は、ベアトリーチェ様にはおつらいものと伺っております。私がお開けいたしましょうか。
いや、よい。あやつが勝てば、わらわは永遠のカゴの鳥。あやつが負ければ、愛に狂い、すべてを失った哀れな魔術師の生涯が、笑い草となって残るだけ。もはや金蔵もわらわさえも、ゲーム盤に並べられた駒に過ぎぬ。あとは、ルーレットの目が勝敗を分けるだけよ。ルーレットが目を見せるまで、わらわと金蔵が再会する必要はない。
Witch looked at her hand, which was beginning to heal bit by bit, even though it had been horribly burned.
あるいは、そのための魔除けなのか。なるほど。それもまた潔し。すべては今や、金蔵のゲーム盤の上よ。 気に入ったぞ金蔵。そなたとのゲーム楽しませてもらうぞ。わらわに恋焦がれ全ての生涯を投げ出したローマ術師の最後のギャンブル、その散りざまを楽しませてもらうぞ。
That's how it's gonna be, huh? That's how it's gonna have to be. That is actually a good time for that transition. It's quite literally, it's like 30. Let me go ahead and say.
誰か
Honestly, not bad prog. Not bad prog. It's nice to see how much different this episode is going, like how much different of a direction it's going, and like still seeing certain parallel events happening, but just add like different instances or different people. So I like that they still have like those similarities, but it's still different enough to just actually be its own instance, like be its own game. So I mean, I like it so far. Honestly, like how it's going, and I'm excited for how it's all gonna like play out. Wait, it's gonna be good. It is gonna be good, and I'm like holding back on certain questions because like I'm thinking that it's probably gonna be answered if I just keep going. Like there's certain things I'm like wondering and thinking of, but I feel like they're just gonna be answered naturally. So probably wait on those. Yeah, like the way they do opposites, pretty fun. Yes, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They do like the kind of like parallel opposites, but like still keeping certain similarities of the episodes. I think that's also great. I think that's like the best way that you can tie in different episodes together like that. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So next time, I will give y'all the extra time from what would have been Thanksgiving. I guarantee you next Thursday, alright? Next Thursday, guys. Appreciate y'all coming through. It's always fun just hanging out here and just reading and just chatting it up. Good stuff, good stuff. Alright, y'all. I gotta go make dinner. Alright, head out. GG's, everybody. GG's. Good night, and I will see you all next time.